My task has been made actually very easy because a lot of what I had to say was covered by my successor, Chetan Makam, the current managing director of Keraleeyam and Paul. But I have a couple of points to narrate about my experience in helping to co-promote what was originally Pen Paul and later became Keraleeyam Pen Paul. Can I have the next slide, please? So, in a nutshell, if you look at, since 1985 till now, a span of 40 years, close to 40 years, we started from scratch. And I think the lesson that should be drawn from this particular business journey is that in the state of Kerala, it is actually possible to start a technology business with nothing. We don't come from a business family. We have no business experience. We did not have technology. We did not have people. So in short, we had nothing. And we came to Trivandrum. And what we found was all that was needed to set up a technology business. Starting from, and let me be honest here, Kerala was not the original location for the blood bag factory. In fact, it was supposed to come up in Andhra near Hyderabad. The other locations which were considered were Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So this was the conventional wisdom at the time that Kerala was not a great place to do business. Unfortunately, none of these three states was willing to fund the project. And only KSIDC came forward and funded us. So that was a powerful incentive for us to actually come to Kerala. As important, probably even more important than the funding, was the fact that the technology came from Sri Chitra, which is located in Trivandrum. Interesting facet of this journey, like I said, from zero to arguably the largest blood bag factory in the world, we relied entirely on people from Kerala. So we didn't have people from other parts of India or other parts of the world, not because we didn't believe in diversity or we didn't want them, we just could not afford them. We didn't have the money, so we had to make do with people from our state. So in a nutshell, I think the lesson that we should all draw is, you want to start a high technology business, not necessarily in medical devices, it could be in biotechnology, it could be in pharma, it could be in food, it could be in coir or rubber. I'll have something to say about that. Come to Kerala. This is a good place where you will find the technology because there are some very smart people in some very high quality research institutions in this state. And you can find the funding from discerning agencies like KSIDC in the industries department. And obviously we have very talented people. Next slide, please. So this is just to show you what a small company could do from scratch to reach most parts of the globe except for the US and Canada. So these are the countries to which Keraleeyam Pen Paul exports its products. Now what is important here is, it was at that time more profitable for us to export than to do business in India. I suspect nothing much has changed actually in the last 30, 40 years. It may still be more profitable to export than to sell in India. Now, why is that important for us? Let's take the case of medical devices. If you set up a manufacturing unit somewhere in India, other than in the state of Kerala, chances are that you will be competing against people who don't maintain very high quality standards. Till recently, we did not have any regulation in the country, which is, I think, one of the reasons why the standard of our products is pretty low on average. But surprisingly, in the state of Kerala, and none of the manufacturers that I know Mr. Thomas John is here, we have not actually discussed all this earlier. We only came to know each other recently. Almost all the manufacturers in Kerala are medium-sized businesses which have invested in the right infrastructure, in the right quality systems, in the right kind of people, and have therefore succeeded in the export business. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about the rest of the country. Now that regulation is coming, I think that will change and the Indian market will slowly open up. So I would urge anybody who is interested in doing business and making some money and who wants to set up in the state of Kerala, exports would be a very good, any product that you can export would be excellent place to start. I think during the earlier discussions, there was some reference to the high cost of labor. That is true. The cost of labor is high in Kerala as compared to other states. But as many of the speakers themselves mentioned, if you're making products which are value added, if you're making products which are sophisticated and in certain niche markets, you really don't have to worry about the price. It may be interesting for you to note that among the top 5 highest paid countries in the world, I'm talking about workers, where the wages are the highest. These include countries like Finland, Denmark, Germany, Holland, and they pay the highest wages. They also have the highest per capita GDP and among the most successful export economies. So I think that should tell you something. It's a good model for us. Next slide. My current role is no longer in the private sector. I retired from my earlier company and I've taken up an assignment with the Kerala government. And our mandate in the Medical Technology Consortium is to help make the state the medical device hub of the country by 2032. So I mentioned this example of Terumopanpol. You've heard the example of Agape. We have also got several examples, 30 at last count, of medium-sized medical device companies which have succeeded, which are doing global business. Now, I've put up something here. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this. This is a concept and a policy of the government of Japan. This is how they see the future of Japan. The reason why they have selected Society 5.0 as a concept is because they're unhappy with the way things are today in the world. They think there is too much inequality. They think there is a need for society to become a lot more inclusive. And they think that technology must serve people and not the other way around. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to draw your attention to a couple of points. You will recollect what the minister said in his opening address and what the principal secretary spoke about at length when they were talking about responsible business. Now, to me, what is written here about Society 5.0 seems remarkably aligned to the vision that the Kerala government seems to have. So there is a very clear alignment between what the Japanese very independently seem to have been thinking and what we in Kerala seem to not only be thinking, but what we've been doing for many years. Obviously, we are people who are bothered about society. We value health, we value people, and we value education. So we have a very literate and educated society. Let me conclude by saying, what are the specific things that we could be doing? After all, we're talking about industry. And thanks to Professor Thomas for his excellent presentation before, which covered most of what I wanted to say. I will just say that I think the industries of the future for Kerala are certainly medical device industries, since that's something which I am personally familiar with, biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, electronics, very much so, I would also add value-added natural rubber with, again, a little bit of medical added to it, because that is an area which has really not been explored in Kerala, except in the case of gloves, which has enormous potential. I would add coir to that. So any industry which relies on technology, and I am saying we are mistaken if we think about businesses in terms of traditional and new. With the application of technology, any industry, in my opinion, can be revived and rejuvenated. So that's about it from my side. And I think experience has shown that a certain kind of company which does responsible business, which is worried about the environment, about its contribution to society, and which is obviously bothered about its shareholders, can and does succeed in the state of Kerala. Thank you.